Well, greetings and good morning, Chaffey students. This is Mr.D. This is week number 7 in our 18-week course, I believe it is. I always say that. An introduction to business here at Chaffey College. And this week we're going to be looking at chapter 9, motivating employees. And I do need to make a little correction here. In your syllabus, it says we're working on chapter 8, but on all the modules, in the way that the whole class is laid out in Canvas, it's chapter 9. And then next week, we're going to back up and go to chapter 8. And the reason I did that is I feel like this motivating employees deals a lot more with like leadership and managing and things like that. So I wanted to include it in this module. And then next week, we start our next module, which will deal with human resources and things like that. So we're going to do chapter 8 next week. So please make sure that you're focused on items in week 7, chapter 9. Canvas is laid out that way, but your syllabus says otherwise, and I'll need to correct that and upload the corrected version. But just so you know, so that's motivating employees is what you're going to be looking at. I also made a mistake last week, and I didn't publish your homework assignment, so you got away last week without doing any homework assignment. It was on the difference between management and leadership, and I feel like it's an important topic to kind of talk about because a lot of times we look at them as the same thing, and they're not the same thing, although there are very many similarities between the two. And so I wanted you to kind of think about that. But unfortunately, I'm not going to give you a past homework assignment, so we're just going to skip it. But just so you know, they're not the same thing. They're different, but there's a lot of crossover between the two. Of course, a person could be a really great manager. And typically, if they're a great manager, they're probably going to be a really good leader. However, I've known many leaders that were horrible managers. So you could be a great leader and not be able to manage people very well. But what I mean by leading is that you have a lot of vision, you have a lot of clarity, you're able to communicate that well. Whereas now you're dealing with people, you might not do well in that area. So I've met many great leaders who are horrible managers, and I met many great managers that were tremendous leaders. So just keep that in mind as you think about your future in business and in working with others. But this we're going to be talking about motivating employees, which is really an exciting chapter. It's one of my favorite topics because there's all these different theories on how you motivate people to love their job and do their work. And certainly these theories are interesting. Some of them I really resonate with and relate to. Some of them I don't. But certainly intrinsic motivators, as we're learning about in the discussion post, are helpful. I believe, I'm not sure if we're doing that discussion post, but there's one by Dan Pink, and if you ever want to look into it, you can. But it's basically on the whole idea of what motivates us. It's based on a book called Drive that he's written, and you can look up Dan Pink Drive, and it's all about how we are motivated by intrinsic things. That's a more lasting form of motivation versus extrinsic. Things like money and rewards only motivate us for a short period of time, but intrinsic motivators, just that feeling of getting a job done or doing a good job, are more lasting when it comes to motivation than extrinsic motivators. It's kind of interesting thing to consider. So you'll be looking at all these different theories: expectancy theory, the hygiene theory, or the what do they call that? The can't think of the name of it right now. Anyway, you'll be looking at the goal setting theory. There's all these different theories on how to motivate people. And I think you'll find one versus another might actually resonate with you a little bit more. And so I think that even your check-in assignment this week is asking you to take one of them that you most resonate with and explain why that seems to motivate you the best. So anyway, that's what we'll be looking at. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and I'm going to go ahead and share our course here in Canvas. And here we are on the home page, and I'm going to scroll down. We are in module number 2. And by the way, this is the last week in module number 2. So that means we're going to have our second exam. And it is based on chapter 9. So if you notice here, it is chapters 4 through 7 and 9. That's the exam. So again, read the chapter 9, do the check-in assignment. Again, I think it's just asking you to pick one of the motivational theories and then explain it and then why that would work for you. Really simple homework assignment as well. It's really a survey on what kind of leader are you, and are you a theory X or theory Y? And theory X is, again, another form of motivation. It's kind of the foundational belief that people need to be prodded, they need to be punished, they need to be pushed in order to do their job, where theory Y is the opposite. It's like, no, people are willing to work. You just need to motivate them through praise and recognition and all that kind of stuff. So It's kind of interesting to look at. So do a survey, see where you stand on that scale. That's all that is. And then you're going to be completing your discussion post on where do good ideas come from. So yeah, we didn't do the motivational one on Dan Pink's book Drive. We did this one instead. Where do good ideas come from? I feel like this is helpful when it comes to entrepreneurship and coming up with business ideas. But complete that by not only making your initial post, but also viewing and commenting on other students' posts. And then you have again your second exam. So make sure you complete all of that by Sunday night. All of it's pretty simple, especially this homework assignment will probably take you 10 minutes at the most to do it, and you'll enjoy doing it. You'll enjoy looking at your results. And then you should have already been working on your discussion post, so it shouldn't be any more than going in and making sure you've completed all three steps. All right, so that's it for week number 7. Week number 8, we're going to be starting our next module, module 3, and we're going to be studying chapter 8 on the subject of human resources and labor relations and things like that. Kind of interesting, especially if you want to get into that field. So you'll be looking at that a little bit more in depth. All right, well, that's it for week number 7 video. Have a great week. If you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to me via email or text, and we can set up a meeting if you need to. But if not, you'll see me on video next week.